The Revelations Arc is on the horizon, and with that comes a lot of huge reveals, character development, perhaps a death, and probably the darkest arc in SMG4 history. Welcome to the SMG4 Cosmology Theory. Make sure to like and subscribe, and enjoy the video. Okay, first of all, I want to praise the genius writing here. Firstly, we got the Genesis arc, and now we're in the Revelations arc, which, by the way, we should have saw the name coming, as it's literally the opposite of Genesis. Genesis, by definition, is the origins of the story, while Revelations is the rest of the story. According to Google, Revelation is the revealing or disclosing of some form of truth or knowledge through communication with a deity or other supernatural entity or entities. This gives us some insight as to what's going to come in the Revelations arc. Ever since the conclusion of the Genesis arc on SMG4, the SMG0 origin story has been teased. Heck, even since the 10-year anniversary special, and it looks like we're going to get it this arc. My original hypothesis stated that it would be SMG 1 and 2 that would administer the origin story, but this time I think it's going to be someone different. Perhaps, as I stated before, the only god stronger than Zero himself, and that's the real-life SMG4. If you haven't watched my Guardian theory, I highly recommend doing so, but to sum it up quickly, in that theory I stated that it was the real SMG4 who is forming the story and manipulating everyone behind the scenes. He's essentially the only god above Zero, and it was expressed in Into the Dark Web that Zero knows about this. Now, if you take that information I stated in that theory and compare it to the Revelations definition I gave earlier in this video, a lot of stuff makes sense. The truth and knowledge is going to be Zero's backstory, and the deity or supernatural entity is the real-life creators of the show who are forming the story. I mean, think about it. The name of The Great Beyond, yeah, that kind of fits. Which means that when we get Zero's backstory, I believe it's going to be the real-life SMG4 to administer it. Also, the movie is called SMG4 Revelations, so maybe we'll get Zero's backstory there? Also, I wanted to point out that there's a common misconception that this will be the final arc on SMG4. No, that is not the case. This is not the final arc. This is the final arc regarding the cosmology lore. So that includes the Genesis arc, the Revelations arc, etc., etc. Which means that the next arc will probably start something new. Just like how the Meggy movie ended the Splatoon lore of the show, this arc will end the cosmology lore of the show. Alright, now, since that's all cleared up, I want to go a little bit more in depth as to who I think is the likeliest to die in this arc. Now, a lot of people are saying Melony is the one who is going to die here. However, I still think that's likely not the case, just because it would essentially be a similar way Axol went out, and I think the writers could get a little bit more creative rather than just copying and pasting a cause of death, but Melony dying would also make a lot of sense at the same time. As we stated before, Revelations is essentially the opposite of Genesis, so Axol and Melony both dying the same ways in both arcs does make a lot of sense from a writing standpoint. So Melony is definitely a candidate, but I think it's way more likely for SMG3 to kick the bucket this time around. For one, as I stated in my Revelations theory, Niles is showing a lot of hatred towards SMG3, and that's because of what he did in War of the Fat Italians 2021. If SMG4 and 3 never gave meme energy to Mario, Mario would have never been able to pin Zero down and for Melony to deliver the final blow. In order for history not to repeat itself, if Zero were to wipe out one Guardian, then both Guardians can't link hands and use meme energy on Mario again. Another thing is that SMG3 really does not care about the true identity of the God Box. Despite SMG1's endless warnings, all SMG3 wants is unlimited power. So, instead of Zero potentially killing SMG3 off, perhaps SMG3 will get in over his head and try to open the God Box himself for the sake of unlimited power and then die from opening it. Or perhaps Niles or Zero or Melony or the Box Club leader could potentially manipulate SMG3 into opening it. Trust me, there's a reason he keeps expressing his desire for unlimited power here. They wouldn't be keeping this charade up for 2 episodes in a row if it wouldn't mean something. So yeah, SMG3 is definitely on the candidate list for death in this arc, at least in my opinion. But that's it for this theory. Thank you all for watching and check out my Guardian theory.